Hello and welcome to Making Things with Robbie. Today I'm going to make a type of Hungarian cold remedy soup, I guess. It's really a chicken soup. I'm missing a couple ingredients, and sometimes it's just because they're hard to find, so I'll leave those out, but I'll tell you about them. So let's go through the ingredient list here. So I'm going to make half a recipe because I'm just making the soup for me. But generally you'd use a full cut up chicken. Parsnips, 3 to 4. Parsley, a whole head of garlic, 2 onions, celeriac or celery root, a big one. A yellow pepper, white pepper, or green pepper, a tomato, 4 to 5 carrots, a jalapeno pepper. You can use the full one. I just used part of this, so I'm just going to use the rest of it. Some bay leaves, and usually use Savoy cabbage or a couple leaves of cabbage, but I don't have that. But I really like the taste of sauerkraut, so I throw in a handful of sauerkraut. Caraway seed, sea salt, peppercorns, Hungarian paprika, and I have some herbs from my garden. They're just a mixture of like rosemary, thyme, and sage, I believe. Yeah, there's my puppy again. She always seems to be drinking when we're doing videos. So the thing that I'm missing is kohlrabi. I tried to grow that in my garden and I would have froze that, but it just didn't work, so I don't have that. A lot of this is from my garden frozen. Like there's the parsnips, they look a little weathered, but they're great. They're from my garden. The garlic is, and I think that's all from my garden so far. So basically what you're going to do is wash everything up, peel the carrots, cut them in half, wash this but keep it whole, wash this, take out the stem and the seeds, you peel the celeriac, wash it and dice it in half. You're going to just wash these onions but not peel them, because we're going to put them in whole, because that lovely brown skin adds a really nice color to the soup. And then I'm going to peel those and I'm going to dice them and maybe put in a couple whole ones. I'm going to leave the parsley whole. I'm going to peel these and cut them in half. I'm going to take some of the seeds out, only put a couple in for heat. We're going to add in 3 bay leaves and a couple spoonfuls of the sauerkraut. So that's what I'm going to start doing. Is I also have a soup container on the boil so that I can place the chicken in there, and I'm going to get that started. So I have the chicken in here, and I'm going to wash the chicken and then place it inside there on probably a very low, like a 2 or 3, just enough for it to simmer, not boil at all. We are not boiling the chicken, we're just simmering it. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what we do with the chicken. I did forget to mention that for now the water is going to be unsalted. That's basically because once this starts to simmer, you'll notice sort of like a white scum. I call it a scum. I don't know what it's called, but impurities kind of float to the surface, and we're going to skim that off of the water, and we may be filling up water as well, so we don't want to salt it just yet. We'll do that after as just a seasoning. Okay, so you can start to see that the skim is starting to appear around the top of the soup, or the broth, I guess. So I've just got a little bowl here and a curved spoon, and I'm just going to skim that off Just going to run my spoon along the top and try to leave most of that water and just get the gross skimmy stuff. Sorry, this is hard to do when you're holding a phone. You can see it kind of just wants to come right off. It's really gross. I think that's just the impurities and fat and whatnot that's in the chicken. And so you just keep going, running along your spoon along here. And you'll continue to do this for the next, I'm going to say probably half an hour, until you start to see that there's no more rising to the surface. And we're actually almost there, and then we can start adding the vegetables soon. Hi there. Okay, I'm ready to put in the vegetables. I've skimmed it a few times now, and it's been on simmering for about half an hour. I'm pretty sure there's no more coming up to the surface, so I don't want to lose all that great healthy oils there from the chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding in, I'm going to add in the parsnips. This is the celeriac, or the celery root. I have quite a few of those, so I'm going to add those in. The onions. More celeriac. The onion unpeeled. So I did cut off the end on that one. So it's really starting to raise up, and ooh, that's going to be so yummy. I'm going to add in the carrots. And pretty much just going to go ahead and add in the rest of all these vegetables. Ooh. You know, when I first had my brain injury, that first year I lost about 40 pounds because I had memory problems and I couldn't remember eating. So the second year in my recovery, I slowly was getting back into a routine as rehab. As part of rehab, and part of that was maybe making wholesome meals. So that's what sort of got me back into cooking and reaching out to my Hungarian roots. My father's family is from are Hungarian, ethnically German, and I just thought, you know, what better way to eat than make healthy soup, because it pretty much has everything in there, and then I could just heat it up through the day, because some of my fear too was if I leave things cooking, I won't remember that they're cooking, and I've had some things burn right through. So a one-pot meals was the best way for me when I was recovering to make sure that I was getting all the nutrients and vitamins that I needed. So that's sort of what helped me get into this. And following a recipe, measuring things out, going on the shopping list and getting all the things you need. That was all, believe it or not, part of rehab, because it's challenging your cognitive abilities, and all those things were hard. The hardest thing out of all of that was going to a grocery store. So a lot of times I would order online because I would get so visually and mentally and stimulated from all the lights and the noise and all the people that I just couldn't even function, and I'd end up with too much on my list and spending more money than I should, or not getting the things I needed. So I did learn to just take, if I knew I was going to do the soup that day and I was missing ingredients, you know, I would just get only those ingredients and then leave. So yeah, that's helped me get back on track after the brain injury, is doing some cooking. So that's why I'm showing it to you now, and because I really want people to know that even when you're recovering from maybe any type of brain injury, which can be caused by stroke, car accidents, or in my case, a freak accident of tree branches falling on my head, you can recover, and you can do it slowly. And there's things that we take for granted doing, like the cooking, like I just mentioned, that are all part of challenging your brain to get back on track again, and also build your confidence. So anyway, I've got all the vegetables in, and I'm going to now add in the peppercorn and caraway seeds. It's about a tablespoon of both. I'm going to add 3 bay leaves. Now, these ones are pretty small, so I'm going to add a couple. And going to add in some salt. And I just kind of gauge, just because I've cooked this so much, I kind of know how much you need without it being too salty. And that's lots. And you can always, after we strain everything out of here and test the broth, we can always, that's a time to sort of add more seasoning if what we put in here wasn't quite enough. So I'm also going to add in, they call this a bouquet, but I put it all in there loose because I strain it out. But my carrots were very small, and so I really want that carrot flavor. So I'm going to add in some of the washed carrot tops, because they're full of vitamins and minerals, and I can't recall which ones because that's part of my brain injury. I have a memory issue sometimes, but I'm going to add that in as part of the flavoring. And also I'm going to take half of that, half of the parsley that I washed. I'm going to add that in there as well. Yep, getting pretty full. And then the last thing to go in there is my sauerkraut. And I like to just sort of like maybe just push this down just a little bit. I've got everything in there. Boy, I wish I had kohlrabi, because it really is good for you and it tastes so delicious. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and add in quite a bit of this. And I don't wash it. This is not it has shredded carrot in here. It's not the wine sauerkraut that you can get. It's the one made with salt brine. And that's the one I want. And I do not rinse this first, because that flavor of the sauerkraut really adds to the broth. Okay, so that's lots. So you can see how much I kind of put in there. I know it seems odd, and you're not going to eat those little stringy things. They're just adding to the flavor of the broth. We're going to strain this. But for now, we're going to turn this down just slightly. We're going to actually bring this up to a boil. And once we've got this water and the vegetables all back up to temperature, I'm going to turn it back down to, I'd say like a 3, a low. We want it simmering, not boiling. And I'm going to leave off the top for now. Oh, I forgot the paprika. That adds a lovely flavor and color to the broth as well. So I just kind of, I'm not going to stir this. I think that people make the mistake of stirring their soups too much. We're gonna just, that's it. That's all I'm doing to it. I'm not simmering, I'm not stirring it any longer. So we'll come back after 2 hours. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down, and then I'm going to cook it for 2 hours. I'm going to come back then. Hi, so I'm at the end of 2 hours now. I was able to go out and walk my dog. Come here, Chloe. Say hi. She had a nice walk while we waited for this to cook. And so now what we're going to do is, or what I'm going to do, I should say, is basically take out all the veg. Take out anything that you can grab, basically. Take out the chicken and separate it in its own. So I'm going to be straining the vegetables in this. So this is what I do, is I just put the vegetables in there and let it drip into there so I don't lose any broth. And then I'll put the chicken in here. And I'm going to have to go and do that and show you after because it's way too hard with holding the camera. I can't do that with one hand. Okay, so see you in a couple minutes. So I just want to show you what I'm basically doing is, so I've taken out the chicken and the vegetables that I want to save, like the parsnip, the carrots, and the pepper. The rest is all going to go in here. I'm going to push down in that and squeeze out all the juice, all that beautiful broth. And this is going to get thrown away. These are going to be kept to add back to the soup at later after I take everything out of here. Then I'm going to further strain it so I can get out all the little bits, like all the little peppercorns and little garlics. And that will go in the garbage. And then I'll just be left with this beautiful broth. As you can see, it's a really nice color. And then we'll basically almost be done. Hi there, so I'm finished taking all the veggies out and straining this. So this one I put through a fine mesh strainer and got rid of all the last peppercorns and little pieces of sauerkraut and whatnot. So that's a nice lovely color, and I have all the vegetables that I wanted to save here, and my chicken, which I'm going to leave whole, because basically what you do is you fill this, you put one inside a bowl, you put some veg inside a bowl, and then you pour the soup over top, or you can shred it, put it inside there, and you can also use this traditional German egg pasta. It's just like chicken noodle soup, sort of, and some people put their soup over noodles, some put them over potatoes. Basically, you can have it just as it is. I mean, it's lovely. Like, I think what I'll do is I'll keep them all separate so they don't get too soggy. Or in some cases, when I want to freeze it, I'll put it all back together right away after the soup cools, and put it all together and freeze a bunch. And that's probably what I'm going to do with this, because this is too much food for me. So it turned out really, really good. As you can see, the chicken is just fall apart yummy. And it looks a little pink there, but it's not. It's just the color of my lamp. And everything just tastes delicious. And so this would be the time that if you didn't season this quite enough, that you can add in your salt and pepper again and bring it to the taste that you like. But in this case, I tasted it once, but gotta blow. I think it's gonna be really good. Let's try. Oh yeah, yum. That's all I can say. That hit the back of the throat. I'll tell you that little bit of jalapeno, it's a little bit spicy, but not too much. It just hits the back of the throat in a nice way, not in a like startling way. And this is going to be delicious. So hope you enjoyed Hungarian chicken soup. Really, it could cross over to German as well, because we're both ethnicities. So yeah, if you like it, let me know, and if you try it, definitely let me know how it turned out for you. Hit the like button, and please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.